Previously in the Broke household. Stay-at-home mom Brandi Broke found out she was pregnant with her late husband's baby, while raising both a raging toddler and a rebellious teenager. To keep the struggling household afloat, her son Dustin invested himself in Pleasantview's seedy underbelly as a petty criminal, stealing for simoleons while watching his grades drop lower and lower. Brandi thought things would smooth out once Beau aged into a child, but then the time came for Briar to enter the world, as well as the household's already tight space. Now, Brandi must make a very difficult decision: stay home to raise her children, or find a job that's able to support her family. After all, Dustin isn't going to stick around forever. But is there still time to steer him towards the right path? I'm back, and so is the series. Well, that didn't age well. Hey y'all, and welcome back to Season 2 of my Let's Play Pleasantview series. Today, in episode 19, we will be returning to everyone's favorite Broke family and see how well Brandi is coping with 3 kids and no job prospect in sight. Now, if we all remember, I did not do well with the Brokes in round 1. Not at all. In any way. Nope. So today, I'm hoping to redeem myself and hopefully keep Brandi from getting pregnant. Again. At all costs. Stay away, Don. You hear me? Stay away. So, let's see how I do by getting in there and start playing. And here we are in the Broke household with Brandi and the kids once again. As you may have noticed, the Brokes have received a complimentary renovation to their humble abode, courtesy of Honeywell on Mod The Sims, which I then edited to my liking, and I think it suits the Broke aesthetic pretty damn well. Did I spiff it up a bit from its original tacky splendor and possibly give them a little bit more than their funds allowed? Maybe just a bit. But honestly, who among us doesn't want an invisible, generous, all-seeing creator to swoop into our lives and grant us a little upgrade to our own measly existence? I sure as hell do. Upgrade me, damn it! Before we get into the actual gameplay, let's first go about our normal routine of setting up their household. First, let's change this warm summer weather to the brisk chill of autumn. Next, let's set up ACR for maximum juiciness. And speaking of maximum juiciness, oh boy, you just can't help yourself, can you, Brandi? Now let's give Brandi and Dustin their secondary aspirations. Starting with Brandi, I'm going to give her her full family tree and grant her the secondary of romance. Oh, Jesus. This woman's never gonna not be pregnant, huh? Enjoy it while you can, Brandi. Moving on to Dustin, I'm going to grant him his full fortune tree before granting him his secondary. Now, I did calculate this beforehand and was kind of shocked that he scored the highest in knowledge. I really wouldn't have thought that of him, especially with his track record, but I am going to give this to him because I feel like that would just add a very interesting dynamic to his overall character. He also just rolled the 1 to get into college, so I'm going to assume that the events of the previous episode were a wake-up call for Dustin to do better in life. So, I didn't even realize this until I started actually editing this video, but Dustin's aspiration completely changed to pleasure? The heck? That is not Dustin. Now, I do know why this happened, and I did fix it after I noticed it, so this little mix-up shouldn't be happening again anytime soon. Okay? Okay, now back to it. As for Brandi, I'm sure you all knew this was coming, but I am not going to give her a diploma. I feel like Brandi was much more interested in creating and caring for a family than she was in going to and completing college. She did marry very early in life and spent every waking moment after high school invested in the life of a caring companion and a loving mother. However, I am still going to grant her the extra 1 slots. Brandi's had it a bit hard in life, so why not ease her troubles just that little extra bit more? Of course, she rolls the one to get married and have yet another baby. She also wants to gain a logic skill point, and I can't help but feel that if she had a little more of this in her life, she'd want a little less of that right there. That won't stop me from locking in these 2 bad boys, though. I do love me a challenge in my game, and apparently so does Brandi, don't you, Brandi? And that's it. We are ready to play the Broke family and see what troubles they can either create or overcome. As expected, Brandi's first task is caring for a screaming and smelly little baby Briar, and as she's being fed, we get our very first pop-up. Both Brandi and Bo seem to have picked up the Pleasantview cold that's been spreading around from one of the many, many Sims in town that have it, which means that lots of rest, lots of relaxation, and lots of irritation on my end are in order. Although sick with a potentially deadly illness, Bo's symptoms seem rather mild as he dances on the sidewalk with his older sibling. Dustin always was a good big brother, and it's refreshing to see that even in the worst of times, he still makes room for little Bo. Their fun is ended when the school bus pulls up to their house, ready to collect them and haul them off to school. With Dustin's newfound interest in college, I am hopeful that his grades will start to take a turn for the better. In the meantime, let's keep Brandi occupied. Not that she doesn't already have her hands full enough. She unloads her baggage into the crib and cleans up the diaper that was flung to the floor just moments before. After she disposes of Briar's dirty business, Brandi heads to the fridge and fixes herself up some cereal. While she spoons it down, we get a visit from the matchmaker, who promises Brandi blind dates and love potions and a complete change of taste. We'll keep this in mind for later, since Brandi is looking for love. Brandi quickly cleans up her bowl and heads outside to greet the crystal ball-wielding woman skulking around on her porch. Intrigued, Brandi asks her how much her services go for, and the woman assures her it's quite affordable. She obviously doesn't know Brandi. Brandi makes a fast getaway and decides it's best to shake her moneymaker, until her moneymaker's interrupted by the welcome wagon. Brandi just can't stop the feeling. Eventually, she heads outside to welcome the fresh neighborhood faces who've moved into the condo just 1 block over. And after some chatting and gossiping, Dustin arrives home from school. and he looks just as dejected as ever. Oh well, these things take time, and I'm sure if he works hard enough for it, he can get those grades back up and get himself into college. Maybe not the best college, but a college at least. Wonder how Brandi will take it. Oh. I guess Brandi didn't learn her lesson from the last time she berated Dustin in front of everyone. Poor Dustin. Not that Brandi seems to care much about his tears. Dustin heads over to the phone. His mother may not care about his true feelings, but there is someone in Pleasantview who does, and she will be here shortly. Angela materializes onto his lot and eagerly awaits for him to come out and greet her. Bo arrives home shortly afterwards, with Angela still hanging around, unnoticed and unwelcomed. Frustrated, she rings the bell one more time as Bo walks right past her, before heading around the back to investigate the sudden meltdown. The culprit? Brandi broke, although I have no idea why exactly she's crying. Just as fast as it started, it ends, and Brandi heads inside while Dustin finally appears and gives Angela a big, sloppy, apologetic kiss. Bo entertains himself on the merry-go-round, while behind him, Angela leads Dustin into the trailer. I can already see where this is going. Of course, Briar begins screaming like a banshee, and Brandi comes running to her aid. Right in on her son and Angela getting comfy on her bed. Get out of there, Brandi! How embarrassing for them. Not that it seems to inhibit their progress very much. Soon they're getting down with the bed sheets, bed rocking, plumb bobs flying everywhere, and finally, they're finished. Well, at least Angela didn't get pregnant from this little encounter. Let's see how Brandi's doing. Ignoring her baby, of course. Why shouldn't she be when there are Sims to talk to? She eventually gets the hint, and changes her right in front of everyone. Back into the bassinet she goes. Hey, she's had a full 10 minutes out of that pen on the carpet unsupervised. Isn't that enough for the day? Speaking of supervision, at least Bo has this total stranger to push him around the merry-go-round. With all this hubbub happening around her house, Brandi begins to feel a bit under the weather, and decides it's best to whip up some of her grandma's comfort soup. She remembers how her mother Betty would always make this exact dish for her whenever she felt sick, and how it always seemed to just melt all the illness away. Unfortunately, her level 10 cooking skill is no match for the intricate recipe that is the infamous comfort soup, and Brandi winds up with a whole lot of failed, burned, whatever that is. Oh well, eat up everyone. Burned or not, everyone is hungry and wolfs down their mystery stew. Dustin joins his mother in the living room, and sheepishly brings up the encounter from earlier that day. He admits to her that they did woohoo, and that it hadn't been their first time. Surprisingly, Brandi seems to take the conversation rather well, and lets him know that she's fine with it, as long as the two of them are being safe. Oh, if only you knew, Brandi. In any case, when Brandi begins her usual cleanup, Dustin actually makes an effort to help out. A small step towards the restoration of their broken relationship, but a step nonetheless.
One small step for man.
Well, it's getting pretty late in the night, and that, as well as the offensive stench coming off of one of her guests, prompts Brandi to send everyone on their merry way so she can send herself to bed. The boys both stay up past their bedtime so they can finish up their homework. They're both completely exhausted, but that's the price to pay for good school grades. Or, in Dustin's case, at least better ones. Dustin thankfully finishes up before he passes out on the floor. And to keep this no passing out all over the damn ground streak hot, I quickly send him to bed. Bo follows soon afterwards, and the whole household sleeps peacefully through the night. Dustin is the first to rise, followed by his little brother. And they munch on some cereal quickly before school. Brandi is the last to wake, and immediately uses the bathroom and takes a nice, hot, refreshing shower, hoping that the steam will make her feel a little bit better. It's all for nothing, though. Brandi's cold has unfortunately taken a turn for the worst. She now has pneumonia, and as she steps out of the shower, we see her pondering her own imminent demise, something we've seen before. We'll have to be really careful with her today if we don't want to see her end up like poor old Mortimer. The bus makes its stop in front of the Broke household, and the boys race outside to make it in time. Leaving us to care for their ailing mother, Brandi. Brandi gets to work immediately, determined to concoct the perfect remedy for her sickness, her grandma's comfort soup. If only she could remember those ingredients. Spoonful after spoonful, Brandi waits for her sickness to fade away with each bite, like it did when she was a child, but to no avail. She's obviously missing something, but what? Dejected, Brandi washes up her now empty bowl before tending to her yet again screaming baby. A quick toss-up later, and Briar is nestled back into her crib, while Brandi attempts to find some entertainment in her trusty old television.
Listen, Maggie. Oh, take me investment. Oh, take me investment.
Dustin arrives home shortly afterwards and quickly rips open his report card to see nothing good. Luckily for him, Brandi's too sick to chastise him this time. Instead, she heads off to bed, and Dustin, concerned over his mother's ailing health, makes the decision to play hooky. No work for him today. He pleads his case while hacking and spittling into the receiver, and soon he has them convinced. Wow, you sure don't sound healthy. Did you need to take a day off? Why, yes. Yes, he does. Dustin really should consider a career in acting. What you doing there, sir? Dustin, smelling to high heaven, slips into the shower, then bawls over his poor grades. Literally me when I had too much coffee. Bo is the next to arrive home, along with a friend he's brought home from school. Alexander must have been the first stop, or has taken the day off due to his own raging case of pneumonia, because here he is to steal the Brokes newspaper. Dustin has no time for his petty ways, though. He's too busy preparing for the party. That's right, today is the day little Briar ages up into a toddler and brings even more stress into the Broke household. But at least she's on her way to being less of an ass pain, so there's that. Soon, the guests arrive. We've got Nina and Dina Caliente, who's also brought Alexander with her, as well as Dustin's friend Dirk Dreamer, and of course, Angela and Lilith Pleasant, which means we'll have two sets of individuals who despise each other in the same household on Briar's birthday. Well, that didn't take long. I just popped inside to see what the guests were getting up to when a full-on fight immediately broke out in the yard outside. At first I thought it was Lilith and Angela duking it out, but nope. It's Angela and Alexander? What the heck? Jennifer Burb cheers Angela on, but her encouraging words fall on defeated ears. Alexander wins this one, but he immediately gets his comeuppance. Meanwhile, Lilith attacks an already beaten Angela, trying to take advantage of the situation and hopefully come out on top for once. Unfortunately, she still loses. Whoa, I can see you're not a sim to be trifled with. Just let me collect what's left of my pride and I'll just stay out of your way. Why do I feel like this is a lie? Awoken by all the fighting and noise, Brandi gets up and heads out to investigate. It's a good thing she does because, yep, it's happening again. These damn kids. Unfortunately, they're not the only ones that need something, and soon enough, Brandi rushes in yet again to tend to Briar, thinking about death the whole time. No, Brandi, what are you doing? Don't just stand there acting like nothing's happening right behind you. Move! She leaves just in time, and Dustin and Angela hop under the covers for even more fun. And back in Brandi comes. Oh no. No. Brandi, what's wrong with you? Dustin and Angela shamefully get out of bed and spin on their clothes while Brandi glares at them accusingly, all while breastfeeding poor baby Briar. Apparently, they're not the only ones in a certain kind of mood. Lilith and Dirk are doing a little flirting themselves. This is interrupted, though, when Angela comes out of the bedroom and immediately pounces on her. You'd think her energy would be lower by now, but nope. Even though they're causing quite a stir in the household, Brandi completely ignores them, and instead munches on a new batch of Grandma's comfort soup she's whipped up for all of her guests. The gravestone above her head doesn't bode too well, though. God, Lilith just can't catch a win, can she? Soon enough, the guests are all munching on Brandi's concoction, but absolutely no one is healed. I suppose the third time isn't always the charm after all. Still, they all seem to be enjoying themselves, and that's what matters right now. Bo? Why are you talking about woohoo with Nina? Nina's like, geez, kid, I don't fucking know. After dinner, it's officially time for Brandi to bring Briar out and help her age into a toddler. Even with all of the animosity between the teens, they still all gather under the same roof to hoot and holler and cheer Briar on as she leaves her baby years behind her and ages into a toddler.
Woo! Look at it! It's ugly, isn't it? You look at it!
Ah, there we go. Look at this little chick jamming out to the salsa station. Freaking adorable. The party ends on a pretty bad note, but really, what could we expect with all that fighting and sickness infiltrating the house? After the guests finish leaving, Dustin and Bo, already clad in their PJs for bed, try to smash out their homework before drowsiness forces them to stop. Bo finishes up first and heads on off to bed, passing out as soon as his head hits the pillow. Next is going to be Brandi, right after she collects this little toilet water splasher here. Look at her, acting all innocent when her mother comes in. Too bad there's a massive freaking puddle all around her. Geez, wonder where that came from. Well, Brandi's just gonna ignore that for now. A quick change into pajamas is all Briar needs right now, and what Brandi needs right now is sleep. Soon, both mother and daughter are passed out and snoring out some Z's. Dustin is the last to get to sleep, but at least he knows that his newfound efforts may just finally snag him that shiny new grade he's been aiming for. And that's where we leave the broke household today. Brandi caught a cold that quickly turned into pneumonia. Dustin finally began trying to improve his grades and his relationship with his mother. Briar aged up into an adorable little toddler. And Bo did absolutely nothing notable. But he's still a broke, and he's still a good kid. Now we just have to see if Brandi is able to remember her family's time-old healing comfort soup recipe and overcome the pneumonia that took Mortimer's life. The question is, will she succeed?
La siin ka bover i. Mada. camera new.
Thank you all so much for watching. Please be sure to give this video a like if you enjoyed it, leave a comment for any questions or suggestions you might have, and subscribe to the channel if you want more juicy Sims 2 drama in your daily routine. Be sure to join me for episode 20 when we return to the Broke household and see what steps they take to improve their lives. Will Dustin be able to raise his grades and maintain his criminal job? And will Brandi decide to take her patented comfort soup recipe to the next level by opening up her very own business? Check back in soon to find out. Until next time, guys, bye!